In this video, we are going to have a Jewish look at the 4 elements of the Zodiac and look at each element's strengths and weaknesses. We are also going to discuss which elements go well together, which is important in finding the right soulmate. There are 12 astrological signs and 4 astrological elements, with each element containing 3 signs. In truth, since the world was created with these 4 elements, as the Ramban points out in his commentary on Bereshit, called Genesis in English, we all have a bit of these 4 elements in us. Based on the time of our birth, we are, however, dominated by one of these 4 elements. If you missed my previous video on the Jewish perspective on astrology and the Zodiac, you can click on the link, which I will link for you above, which is an introduction to Jewish astrology. Now let's have a look at the 4 different elements of the Zodiac and their strengths and their weaknesses. The first element we are going to look at is fire, consisting of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Fire elements are usually very lively. I compiled some adjectives from different Jewish sources in different books that pretty much describes everything you would ever see in a person that is a fire element. Fire elements are normally radiant, glowing, warm, energetic, creative, aspiring, spontaneous, and passionate. These are all very good qualities, depending on how we use these qualities. Fire elements, for example, make great military generals because they are daring, spontaneous, and can make a decision on the spot. Fire elements are also great if you need to carry out a very important job, because they are normally energetic, assertive, courageous, and self-confident. They are also very independent, enthusiastic, inspirational, and optimistic. These are all very good qualities, but for every good quality, there is also an opposite weakness or bad quality. Some of the bad qualities of fire elements is hot-headedness, rash behavior, quick decisions, which leads often to the wrong decision. This is because fire elements are normally impatient, impulsive, uncontrollable, aggressive, and pushy. This often makes fire elements domineering, obnoxious, and insensitive. This can lead to a lot of friction because fire elements are generally very direct and not sensitive. They could thus often say something without thinking, and in so doing hurt others with their words and their direct approach. Like we said in the previous video, it is important to know your strengths and your weaknesses so that we can improve ourselves and thus live a more fulfilled life and get along better with others. The whole purpose of Jewish astrology is to know yourself so that you can improve yourself and achieve your purpose in life. Now, I already made a more detailed video on the purpose of life, which I will link for you above. The second element we are going to look at is the air element, consisting of Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. Air elements are normally very intellectual and social. They normally have a good sense of humor and are generally more happy and rational. They are extremely good communicators, and a lot of them make very good journalists, writers, and creators. They are also normally very inquisitive, impersonal, and impartial, which also means that they make excellent judges. Libras tend to make very good judges because they are extremely impartial. Geminis are generally passionate, fair, tolerant, clever, witty, and versatile. These are some of the good qualities of the air elements. If they use these good qualities, they can accomplish a great deal. Air elements are generally more interested in reading books and communicating a lot. Some of the negative qualities of the air elements are the fact that they can be very spicy and overly intellectual. They also get worried very easily and are very nosy. This can lead to gossiping, or lashon hara as it is called in Hebrew, which is a big problem for air elements, which they need to focus on and work on. Air elements can also be very uncaring, detached, and very absent-minded. This can make people around air elements feel unloved and gives them a feeling that the air elements don't care or that they don't respect others. Air elements should realize that other people are sensitive, and perhaps air elements should learn to look around and notice the people around them. Air elements can also be very indecisive, especially Libras. They just can't seem to make up their mind because they're always weighing everything, the pros and the cons, which makes them good judges. But this indecisiveness and judgment can also be hard for the people around them. These are some of the negative characteristics of air elements that they need to work on. Even though we have certain tendencies and certain inclinations, nobody should ever say, "I was born like that." You have free will, and you can control yourself with discipline and through the Torah and the Torah's commandments. The third element we are going to look at is water, consisting of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Water elements tend to cry the most. This is because they are extremely sensitive and show a lot of emotions. This also makes them very nurturing, empathetic, compassionate, deep emotionally, and they tend to seek to bond with others on a much deeper level than the other elements. Water elements thus make great psychologists because of all these good qualities. Water elements also tend to be very mysterious. This also means that they make great spy agents for Mossad, the FBI, or the CIA. This is especially true of Scorpio. Scorpios make great investigators because they are determined to figure things out on a much deeper level. Some of the negative qualities of water elements is that they can be very clingy, overly emotional, insecure, and shy. Now, there is nothing wrong with being shy or reserved, but too much of it can be a bad thing. Water elements often lack emotional strength and thus can be very dependent on other people. If water elements marry somebody who has a very strong personality that takes charge and takes care of them, it could be a perfect match. Water elements can also be very deceptive and untruthful. Water elements are generally insecure and not very organized. The fourth element we are going to look at is Earth, consisting of Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Earth elements are normally practical, pragmatic, realistic, reliable, and trustworthy. If you give a job to an Earth element, you can be sure that the job will be done. Earth elements are normally very stable, structured, patient, and persevering. Earth elements, for example, can hold on to the same job for a very long time, 50 years even. Earth elements are normally industrious, productive, and persistent. As we explained earlier, for each good quality of any of the elements, there are normally an opposite negative quality. For example, Earth elements are very persistent, but this can also make them very stubborn. Some of the other negative qualities of Earth elements is the fact that they can be overly conservative and afraid to take risks because they like things the way it is. This is also because of the fact that they want to be secure. Earth elements can be very rigid, unyielding, narrow-minded, with a type of tunnel vision. But don't forget, we still have free will. Even if somebody has a tunnel vision or is unyielding, he or she is still capable of teaching and training himself or herself to be a little bit more flexible and to take a broader view. Now let's briefly go through the different element combinations and see what elements will naturally get along with each other and what are some good things and bad things with the various element combinations. Let's first look at 2 fire elements. With this combination, there could be a tremendous amount of energy, but it can also produce a lot of competition. Fire elements want to be in charge. So if fire elements get into a relationship, they both would want control, which can lead to a lot of fighting and friction, and thus they are generally not a very good match. Fire elements with air elements are normally a very good match. This is because air elements has a lot of ideas, and he or she needs the fire elements to push him or to get things done. Fire elements with earth elements are normally not a good combination. Earth elements sometimes teaches the fire elements good lessons. Fire elements normally are very spontaneous and likes excitement. Earth elements can teach the fire elements to be more practical. Earth elements' practicality can thus ground the fire element's inspiration. There is, however, a few negative aspects of a fire element with an earth element. Earth elements are too conservative for the fire element. Fire elements wants to have fun and be adventurous. Fire elements want to take risks all the time. Earth elements, on the other hand, is adverse to taking risks. Thus, if fire elements get together with earth elements, they're going to have a lot of problems. Whether it's a partnership or marriage, the earth element does not want to take a chance, and the fire elements needs adventure, and fire elements does not want to be dependent and told what to do. Fire elements with water elements are usually not a good match. Sometimes, however, water element sensitivity balances out fire element's intensity. On the other hand, the fire elements encourages the water elements, who is normally timid. Water elements, however, needs a lot of closeness, bonding, and affection. And fire elements normally just says, leave me alone. I want to be free and independent. Earth elements with earth elements are usually very productive and normally make great friends. If earth elements marry earth elements, the relationship can become a little bit boring. This is because they are very similar. This does not create a lot of excitement in the relationship. Earth elements with air elements can result in a lot of conflict. Earth elements have a desire for consistency, which is in conflict with the air element's need for change. Earth elements with water elements is normally a great combination because earth elements stabilizes and gives structure to the water elements. On the other hand, the water elements nourishes or nurtures the earth elements and gives it life, just like water gives life to earth. Air elements with air elements is also a good combination, since both of them like to communicate. The negative side to this combination is that the relationship can be overly intellectual and lack passion. Air elements with water elements are normally not a good combination. The air element's intellect can give perspective to the water element's emotions. The air element's logic, however, can be in conflict with the water element's emotions. This is because the water elements want to feel something, and the air elements want to reason and be logical. This can create a lot of conflict. Water elements with water elements can support, encourage, and heal each other. But sometimes this combination can lead to hypersensitivity. Both are very dependent and afraid to take risks. In the next videos in the series, we will look at each individual astrological sign in much more depth and focus on each sign in the zodiac, looking at their strengths and their weaknesses, with a special focus on relationships and compatibility. So be sure to subscribe and press the bell notification if you want to be notified when I publish the next videos in the series. To access the series on Jewish astrology, click on this playlist link next. Thanks for watching and Yom Tov.